Must be a big game. It's quite a lot of numbers on.
I know, yeah, more than usual.
More than usual.
Right, look north. Do you want to get us underway whenever you're ready, Dawn?
Yeah, no problem. Hello, Lee. How are you doing?
Hi, Dawn. Yeah, very good. Thank you.
I noticed you at Newcastle game yesterday. Actually, just seen a shot of you in the crowd on us looking at the rushes. Anyway, let's get started. Just a quickie about the game at the weekend. Were you overall pretty happy with the point? You sort of spoilt their party a bit.
Yeah, I think it was a difficult occasion. You know, we had to manage the occasion as well as the game, and to come out with a point, it's not the worst result in the world. Like, we go back to the drawing board in terms of looking at various parts of our game that we could have improved. But I thought the boys showed really good grit and character, particularly being 1-0 down at half time, to perform as they did in the second half. And having looked at it, we've had 2 or 3 good opportunities and chances to go and win the game.
So this is a big game, whichever way you look at it. You're the lowest ranked team left in the competition now. You'd imagine Mikel Arteta would make a number of changes. I don't know whether you've got that luxury, but what would it mean to you if you could upset the odds and get a win at the Emirates?
Yeah, well, it would be really big for the fans, wouldn't it? It'd be really big for the players, and the same with the staff. I think, obviously, Sunderland in recent years have had games like that on a pretty regular basis, but the players haven't, you know, and it's a really big game for the players. It's obviously a top stage to be playing on, and something that everybody's really looking forward to going to give of our best, and hopefully we can enhance our reputation by our performance and our guts, if you like, within that performance.
I know you're taking about 5,000 fans down to London, which is great for you, but are you slightly concerned about the COVID risk, bearing in mind, you know, London being a bit of a hotspot for Omicron at the moment?
Yeah, I think it's definitely something that you're thinking about, but obviously you've got to trust the guidelines. I'm not a politician. I'm a football manager, but I do want my own fan base and everybody else in the country and my family and friends to be as safe as possible. So all we can do is adhere to every protocol that's in place, and then try and turn up and give our 5,000 travelling fans the best show possible.
So I know they're having a discussion at lunchtime this afternoon about a fire break in football. Do you think that would be a good idea?
I think it's really difficult. I think that obviously people that are being affected by it now and in hotspots in the country are going to naturally have that feeling and that emotion. I think in the northeast, where we are, like, it hasn't quite reached us yet. And I think the feeling is we want to continue. Now, if that rips my team in half, because we have 3 or 4 or 5 COVID scenarios, then absolutely that would change the mindset. So I think what we've got to do is we've got to have the clarity based on each individual team. And then if the bigger picture, i.e. government, decide to change their stance, then of course football has to comply to make sure that those lives are saved and NHS are looked after.
Thanks very much, Lee. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dawn. ITV Timeties.
Hello, Lee. Obviously, you've got 6 days after the Arsenal game before the Christmas programme itself kicks in. That's a reasonable break. Then it gets busy. So, in terms of this one, are you going full force at this game, or do you have to have one eye on the Christmas programme as well?
Yeah, I think we've got to make informed decisions on all of it, if I'm honest with you. You know, you've got to look at now the situation with the COVID testing every day. It's back to where we were probably a year ago, where you're picking a team and then effectively could change by 2 or 3 players for a number of reasons. So, yeah, I've learned not to worry, not to fret too much about it, just to trust the players, trust the process, trust and that they've got the clarity of job role and that they can bring their best out when selected. So, and part of that is obviously making the right decisions more often than not to go and win football matches.
Obviously, Arsenal, high-level Premier League team, in good form as well. What do you make of them?
I think they've been fantastic, you know, having watched them over the last sort of 4 or 5 games. I think they're so fluid at the moment. You know, they've got a lot of young players playing. It's a brilliant model with a bit of a ropey start to the season for them. I think it's just been an outstanding run and an outstanding set of performances. So, yeah, a lot of young players, a lot of bright players, and I think it's an interesting model, an interesting route they've gone down, and it's really bearing fruit at the moment with them being sort of in the top 4 in the Prem.
I wouldn't go as far as to say that you've got nothing to lose, but is it fair to say that this is like a nice bonus to your season?
I think so. I think it's one of the few occasions that we've been the underdog in a season. You know, I think that can definitely free players up a little bit. I think that it's a really great arena to play in. You know, the pitch will be perfect. I think there'd be an adequate to big crowd. You know, I'm not sure in terms of total numbers, mainly because of the COVID, but I know they've priced it well in terms of, I think there'll be some good numbers there. And yeah, our boys are up for it. You know, it's on TV, which is good as well. And like I say, it gives us an opportunity, I think, to enhance the football club's reputation moving forward. And a lot can come from that. You know, players look at that from home and abroad and say, okay, well, Sunderland are doing well. You know, I'd like to join that. I'd like to be a part of that team. And obviously our fan base can earn that bit more trust in us yet again.
It's good for me. Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thanks, Simon. Keith?
Hi, Lee. Sorry, you just touched on it there, but will it kind of almost, is this an occasion to kind of almost remind people, maybe those who maybe have forgotten and not seen Sunderland on the big stage for a while, but to remind them what Sunderland as a club are all about?
I think so. And I think our travelling fans always remind the world of that. You know, we travel in great numbers. It'll be the same again. And yeah, we're the underdog, but I think that sort of industrious spirit, I'm sure, will be on display in this game. And Arsenal will have to work hard, if you like, for everything that they get. And I think that's the key, to make sure that everything we do it strong and powerfully in our way. And I think the fans will respect that sort of blood and guts performance.
I know, Lee, there's been a bit of an argument sort of throughout the last few years to say that the amount of cup games is kind of made things difficult for Sunderland in the league, and it might have kind of counted against them in many ways having all those games. But to be in the last 8 with all these big clubs in the Premier League who are doing well, and an opportunity to get to a semi-final, does it kind of make it all worth it?
I think so, yeah. I mean, look, you want to almost choose your competitions a little bit, and if you look at the Papa John's, you know, we've used that in a completely different way this year after winning it last year, and the FA Cup, you know, we mixed the team, thought we could win, and was really disappointed with the show we put in. So we've focused quite heavily on this competition, and obviously that's proved its worth by getting to a really good occasion. And I think despite my comments and bad dad jokes at the start of the year, after the QPR game, genuinely, we thought this would be a really good sort of stage and occasion for us as a football club to try and put ourselves back on the map a little bit. And
you're going to do it the hard way with all these away games?
Yeah, we do like a travelling journey. Yeah, exactly. So it's a really good atmosphere and a really good environment for us to play in, and I think whatever, we're going to take massive learnings from this game in terms of the quality of Arsenal, but also testing ourselves against these elite teams.
Thanks, Lee. Cheers.
Thank you.
Thanks, Keith. James?
Hi, Lee. Good to see you. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you, James.
Lee, I wanted to ask you about what the key has been to this cup run so far. As has been mentioned, 4 consecutive away victories.
I think the squad have been excellent. You know, we started off the season with basically 2 11s. We're now basically down to an 11 and a bit in my eyes because of the injuries and the knocks that we've got. But everybody's worked really hard, and I think the attitude was good in the early games, which is important. And then you build up that momentum within the competition to go and get the next result. Our fans have been a big part of it because we've travelled well. You know, at QPR, we must have had 2,500 on a Tuesday night down in London, and obviously another big crowd against Arsenal. So I think the whole sort of dynamic and sort of cohesion of the fans and the players and the squad has led us to get this far in the competition.
and you're unbeaten in 7 now in the league. How important is it to keep that momentum going when it comes to performances if you can't necessarily control the result as much against a team such as Arsenal?
Yeah, I think you've nailed it there, James, just with the fact of the performances have to stay like as consistent as possible. It was interesting listening to Pep Guardiola, wasn't it, after a 4-0 win, and he's not happy with the first half. I suppose that's part of his drive, that intensity and being one of the best, if not the best coach in the world. But also he's right, because it is the performances that end up creating the wins in the long term.
And for you personally, it's been just over a year since you took charge here at Sunderland. How do you feel about the impact that you've had so far?
Well, I think it's been an honest impact. I think that's the first thing. I can look myself in the mirror and say that I've tried to do all things right. I obviously haven't made every correct decision along the way, but I think we've made more right decisions than wrong. And the progress, hopefully, is there to be seen and to be judged by everybody else. We are on a good run. I think in the league we're performing well in a really competitive League One this year, despite having some adversity with the amount of injuries that we've had. And obviously it's nice to be on this stage tomorrow, pitting our wits against one of the best teams in the country. And
finally, I just want to ask you about what's going on with football at the moment. We're not sure what's happened. We can't control what's going on, what the government, the EFL, the Premier League may decide. But are you having to advise your players about what they do around the Christmas period when it comes to socialising, mixing with families, and etc.?
Yes, we've had a series of meetings. In fact, one meeting I think was cancelled today with the EFL and the managers. I've just found that out. So disappointed to hear that, but there's obviously a reason for it. And these protocols that are ever changing. We've got a Zoom tonight at 7:30 with the players. And it's exactly that, really. It's putting a presentation on for the players to understand and be well educated on all areas, because we've got to protect the people, but we've also got to protect the points. And depending on whether we comply with the protocol, will depend on whether we get fined or, in a worst case scenario, have to forsake points. So at the moment, touch wood, we're dealing with it really well, and the doctor and the physios are absolutely on blob with the information that they're getting, deciphering it, and then articulating it back to myself and the players. But personally, my focus is obviously on leading by example and making sure I'm moving around the place with my mask on and making sure I'm wiping down surfaces. But at the same time, using the weight of the manager to be able to stop the lads going in, putting themselves in scenarios where it could be detrimental to their overall health.
Thanks, Lee. All the best.
Thank you.